Welcome back to Monster Tamer, a 2D Pokemon-like RPG created Phase Year 3. Previously, we worked on updating our code to go ahead and use our newly refactored NPC JSON file. If you missed the previous videos, there'll be links in the video description to the source code to this point, as well as the clear source code for this video. There'll also be links to previous videos to catch up, so let's get started. So now that we refactored our game to go ahead and use our new NPC JSON structure, and to use our events there for displaying our messages, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to extend our functionality to have one of our NPCs be able to heal our player. And so the feature we're going to work on building is when our player gets knocked out during a battle, and if they have no more available monsters, we need to have them respawn. And so currently we have the player respawn outside of our house, but instead what we're going to do is for our NPC that we have inside here, we're going to have our player go ahead and spawn next to our NPC. And then that way, after our player spawns, we'll have that NPC talk to the player and go ahead and heal us. And so to go ahead and support this, what we're going to do is we're going to add some new metadata to our building. And what we're going to do is we're going to add in this new metadata for revive location. And in addition to that, we're going to add this new area metadata. And what we're going to do is for an area our player is currently located in, we're going to go ahead and define where the faint location is defined at. And then that way, when we load back our area, wherever our player is battling our monsters, we're going to check what that location is. And from there, we're going to go ahead and find where we need to respawn our player based on our faint location. And so to go ahead and do this, what we'll do is let's go into our building 1 level. And so what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and add 2 object layers. The first one, we're going to call area metadata. And for our second one, we're going to call this revive location. So for our revival location, we don't need any additional metadata, and so we can go ahead and add an object. And so for this object, all we care about is where it's at in our scene, so then that way we can have our player appear in that location. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and lock our revive location object layer, and then we're going to go ahead and add some metadata to our building. And so for our metadata, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use our encounter tile, and we're going to place that here. And so for here, we do need some metadata, and what we're going to do is we're going to use our class area metadata. And so this class we previously imported, and what this does is going to give us 2 properties. The first one is going to be our ID. So this is going to be the ID of which area in the game we're currently in. And so what we'll do is for each unique area, we're going to have a respawn location tied to it. So one of our maps, we're going to go ahead and associate that with where our player needs to revive at. And so what we'll need to do is inside our level, we're also going to need to go ahead and add in that area metadata. So then that way our player knows when we're in this area, which area ID we're associating with it. And so what we'll do is let's go ahead and add a new object layer to our main level. And so we're just going to do a new object layer. We're going to call this area metadata. What we're going to do is I'm just going to drag this up with our other object layer so it's grouped together. And let's go ahead and grab our encounter tile, and we're going to place that. We'll put it over here by our sign. So then what we want to do is let's go ahead and add our area metadata class. And now what we need to do is define an area ID for this area. And so we're just going to do ID of 0. And so later on, as we add more maps to our game and we define more areas, we'll go ahead and increment this ID. So then that way we know where we're at in our game. And then what we can do is we can define a faint location. So which map our faint location is located in. And so for this area, our faint location is actually located in our building 1. And so we're just going to go ahead and add that in here. And so what this is going to allow us to do is if we're in a battle here and we die, when we come back into our world scene, we can grab the location of where we're at. And then we know, hey, we need to grab our building 1 JSON file to find our spawn location. So then what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and save. I'm going to jump back over to our building 1. And so inside our building 1, we just need to add the same data to our custom properties here. And so we're going to keep our ID the same because overall we're still in our main starting town area. And so it's going to still be an ID of 0. Then for our faint location, we still want this to go ahead and be our building 1, even though we're inside this building. Because we know currently there's no way for our player to get knocked out inside here, but we just want to keep this consistent across our various data here. And so likewise, if we could do battles in our building 2, we'd want to go ahead and add that area metadata there, and then that way we know to have our player respawn inside here. So then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and save this file, And then what I'm going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and export out our JSON so we can go ahead and import that into our game. So what we'll do file, we're going to do export as, and we'll want to do building_1 JSON. We'll save that in my desktop so I know where it's at. And then we'll also do the same thing for our main level. So do export as and do main_1 JSON. All right, so with our updated data, what we need to do is let's switch back to our code, and we'll need to go ahead and import those JSON files into our game. So just as a reminder, under our assets folder, under our data folder, we'll want to go ahead and import that building1 JSON in our main_1 JSON file. All right, so now that we have our new JSON files, what we're going to go ahead and do real quick is we're going to go ahead and update our NPC's JSON file to have some new events. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start setting up our first NPC, so the lady inside our house, to go ahead and actually be able to heal our player. So currently we have her message set to say, hey, you should take a quick rest. And now what we need to do is actually we need to tell the game that, hey, you actually need to heal our NPC. We actually need to go ahead and heal our party. And so the idea here is when we talk to this NPC, we can go ahead and heal our team. Or if we get knocked out in battle, we'll spawn in front of our NPC and our NPC will start talking to us. And then that way they can go ahead and heal us. And so to go ahead and do this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this event block and we're just going to add our data for now. And then we'll go back to our code to handle it. So for our type, the next event we're going to do is we're just going to do a heal, and we don't need actually any data tied to this. So then what we'll do is we want to go ahead and have a nice fade in, fade out effect. So then that way it looks like our team is actually resting when they're getting healed. And so for our type, we're just going to call this scene fade in and out. And now for this one, we will need some data. And so what we're going to do is we're going to parameterize anything we want to do with our fade in and fade out effect. So then that way we can control it from our JSON file. And so what we're going to do is we'll define our fade in duration and our fade out duration. And so this is just going to be the number of milliseconds we want these effects to last for. And so we're just going to do 1 second. And so that's a little bit quick. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it 2 more times. And so we'll also have our fade out duration. And we're also going to add one more property. We're going to call this wait duration. And so this is going to be the delay between when our scene fades out and we'll wait. And then we'll go ahead and have it fade in after we wait this amount of time. And so what this is going to look like is we'll have a nice fade out effect that takes about 1 second. We'll have the screen stay black for a second, and we'll have a fade in effect that takes about a second. So finally, after this event, what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll have our NPC display one more message to our player, and we're just going to say, oh good, you and your monsters are looking great. And then that way our NPC will talk to our player, and then all the events will be handled and our team should be healed. Alright, with that brings this video to an end. In our next video, we're going to work on adding code to go ahead and handle our new event types and to go ahead and handle our new respawn logic. So as a reminder, there's a link in the description of the video's complete source code for this video, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did enjoy the video, please consider liking the video and hitting the bell icon to be notified when the next video in the series is released. For more great Phaser 3 content, please see the links on your screen now.